Hello and welcome to another episode of Count Dracula's podcast on healthy meat vegan alternatives. Today we're going to be cooking dishes with no meat, and that means no blood. We'll be doing things with pumpkin you've never seen done before. We are also going to be cooking up a few additional cocktails for the holidays. They will be wonderful.
Sir, you got a call online too?
Yes, caller.
Hey, what's the deal here? I tuned into the show. I paid money for the show to get like good stuff on blood. And now you talking about no blood? This is the Dracula show. What's the matter with you?
Well, being a vampire, I would also like you to invite me to your home.
That's fine as long as you're going to teach me about good blood dishes.
Excellent, you all heard him. I'm on my way. I know that was a terrible one.
Welcome, everybody. It's not really a podcast of a vampire teaching how to make vegan food, but it is
Are you sure?
a podcast about all things safety, how
That's
not
right.
to die at work, and the real name of it is Evil Safety Dudes. Even though Dracula is an evil dude,
I mean, he's an evil dude.
he's not safe.
No, he's not safe.
Bloodborne
I mean,
pathogens. He never does AIDS tests.
He's worried about
He
his
never
safety.
does Hep B. He never does Hep C tests.
He's got to be immune to everything.
He just
The only thing that can hurt him is like silver.
he doesn't use personal protective equipment.
He is personal protective equipment.
He's personal death
He's
equipment.
made out of personal death equipment.
All
What
right.
would you say? It hurts Dracula's feelings. I'm very pained by this.
We have a number 2, a part 2
Yeah.
podcast today.
That's right.
On,
Picking up where we left off.
Yeah, becoming a safety professional. You know, things that I wish somebody told me when I was starting out. Things that's a roadmap, a guide map that someone could give me and say, look, Aaron, if you want to be successful at this, if you don't want to get fired, if you don't want to get people killed, here's some things that you should, learn.
Yeah, here's like a handful of tips, a couple things we picked up along the way we would like to pass out to somebody else to say, hey, if you're coming up in safety, if you're going to be a safety person, or if you were just grabbed off of a line somewhere because you're a good hard worker, and they're like, here, you're safety now. Hopefully this is things we've learned so that you don't have to learn them the hard way.
Yeah. All right, so, but before we get into that, what's new with you, Mr. AJ?
Well, remember we were talking about that mole. I got one. I don't know if it's going to be all of them. Yeah. It only took me a couple days
underground trap?
trapping. Well, so it was one of the horrible. It is not a live trap.
So it's above ground, but the teeth killing apparatus shoot through the ground.
Yep, that one.
So it works, huh?
Yeah, got him.
Cool.
Well, I mean, I hope that would there could be like a whole family of them out there. I
Right.
don't know. I reset back up because they are absolutely just destroying my lawn.
Yeah.
And moles are not one you want near your house. They can actually set up for a lot of other pests. You end up with snakes, and you can end up with spiders and all sorts of fun stuff in your yard. So you want to get moles
Well,
cleared out.
congratulations. Are you going to mount the head on your wall?
Absolutely not.
You're not proud of that one?
Well, I mean, it's it's a good trap, but it's not like I'm like, yeah, everybody look at my little teeny tiny mole head. That would just be like weird.
That would be
Tiny
funny.
little,
You should take it to the taxidermist
no.
and be like, this is my first kill. We must memorialize
Well,
this.
it's not my first kill, but it's my first mole kill. All right, Aaron. How about you? Anything going on? What's new with you guys?
We had a great judo seminar last night.
Judo.
Yeah, and learn how to throw and toss people and fall correctly without getting hurt, and had a great turnout. People came from far. We had masters there above 4th degree, black belt and rank. It was a good special night.
That's
so,
hardcore.
Yeah,
Whenever I
yeah.
hear the word judo, I always think of some kind of yogurt for some reason.
Yeah, that
I
would
don't
be
know
weird.
why, but
Yeah.
like I hear judo and I'm like, I could go for some
Yeah,
vanilla yogurt.
Japanese
like right now.
martial art style. It. Everybody knows Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So I mean, you really know judo, because they're all related.
It's kind of like that little family of martial arts.
Yeah, yeah,
Very cool.
yeah. So yeah, good night, good night. All right, so AJ, got a question for you. It's crazy.
It's getting worse.
All right, so when you're a safety person,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about the character of a safety person.
Okay.
What role do you think a good backbone plays in being a good safety professional?
You mean like your own personal chutzpah, like a backbone, like your
I don't know if we could say this on air, but cojones.
your cojones? Yeah, right. I got you. I think it's very important. You can't. I mean, you could, but you'd have to do it with confidence. But it's difficult to not be a more of a assertive safety person. You have to be confident in what you're saying. You have to be able to deliver what you're saying with the belief in yourself. You can't be timid. You couldn't be. You could be like, well, if that's okay with you,
Right,
like
right.
Your safety delivery really it has to be honest and it's got to be a little bit strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think you use the word assertive, and I like that. Assertive, not aggressive. Aggressive safety people suck.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And aggressive safety people ruin the reputation of the safety trade for everybody else.
You're talking about safety cops.
Yeah, safety jerks.
They come out on the job site or the floor and they just start busting people, yelling at people, just tearing them apart. And who knows, maybe that person has been through this class or maybe he's seen it for an hour once in the last 18 months.
Or never been told it at all.
Or never at all, and they're just going to blow up on them.
Yeah, but assertive, yeah, you definitely got to be assertive.
I think so.
I mean, it's scary. I'll just be honest with you. First time going up to a group of welders.
Well, yeah.
Let's go ahead and stereotype today. Is that okay?
Just
Is stereotyping still okay?
No, but we'll do it.
Okay. Welders, as a stereotype, are a rough bunch of dudes, man.
They're tough. I mean, they're
you don't
tough by nature.
see no skinny, frail welder wearing a cardigan,
A cardigan?
and like some boat shoes, and like clean skin, no tats, and like real nice hair.
I mean,
like all with gel in it and like combed, like
all ready to go. I don't know,
with that little alligator polo, like just got done golfing this weekend.
There you go. No, they're
who bakes some cookies.
I mean, they're pretty traditionally tough.
They're tough.
They're a tough group of guys.
They're like, they're like bikers.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of a reputation there, but I think you pick any trade and you're gonna run into those more often than not. They're gonna be a lot more tough. You got your welders, your plumbers, any of your general contract, big guys that are running
construction
around.
workers.
Yeah,
they're tough dudes, man.
they are.
And so when you got to walk up to 5 of them, be like, hey, wait a second here, guys. This is all wrong. Look at your hoses. Look at your leads. Look at the damage.
Right.
Your regulator glass is shattered. I mean, come on, man. You're not even wearing a welding hood, dude.
There you go. That's for me. That's the one that you always got to pick out. The other stuff, if you can point to actual damage, then it's not about them being tough. If you're like, hey, man, look at this arc welding lead you've got. Look at how damaged this is. Look how much bare copper I can see. That could absolutely shock the day.
Right.
They're going to be like, well, okay, I'll just tape it up. And then you got to explain to them, OSHA.
Yeah.
But the one that always ends up coming down to their toughness versus your safety is that welding hood.
Yeah.
You come walking up on him. The guy's, he's just been using his hand to cover his welding, or he just looks away when he welds and he looks back.
I mean, and not even challenging their toughness, but anything you tell them to do, that's not right. Like, where's your fire watch? Or,
Fire watch? You think they're actually going to do that?
It's just,
you crazy?
So that backbone is pretty essential.
Yeah.
That confidence.
It's something you got to grow.
Yeah. And, there's another issue too with it, with people
People is tough.
So, how often I'm thinking of one company right now off the top of my head, and I could probably think of 4 or 5 more if I just thought about it, where the person they appointed as safety, like you mentioned earlier, was part of the line, part of the crew.
Right.
And they're all buddies. I mean, literally, like, they got their friends the job.
Yeah.
It's like 5 of their high school buddies out there.
They still go out and hang out outside of work.
Yeah, and now you're the safety person.
Right.
And so it's a little different than backbone, but it ties in, but it's more on a favoritism.
I think, I mean, they go hand in hand.
Like, that's a tough one.
Those two things are really going to be what holds you back from doing the right thing. One, you might be afraid to do it, or the other one, you might be like, wow, these are my friends, or like, I don't want them to be mad at me.
Yeah.
So you're like,
I can't
fear
bust
and
them. I
anger.
got them this job. I can't fire them.
Right.
They're on their 3rd strike.
Oof.
They're on their 20th time, actually.
That makes it hard, dude.
You know,
Makes it really hard.
but I don't think you're going to do your job well if you're showing favoritism or if you're too scared to actually do your job.
Yeah, you got to be able to assert yourself. And
in a sense, you have to start preparing your brain to being an evil safety dude or dudette. Because that's like how people will look at you.
Yeah.
Even when you're cool. Even when you're like, hey, man.
Well, because that's the thing that sucks is like, and I've had to do that before. I've had to I've been on a job site talking to regular guys that I see weekly. We have a great rapport. They're excited when I show up. They're like, hey, man, they want to catch up. They want to hear about my stuff.
I think that's far-fetched. They're excited when the safety guy shows up.
Oh, yeah.
That's weird, AJ.
They're pumped. They miss me. They're like, hey, what's up?
Would you bring them donuts?
No, I'm just awesome. But then, like, right there, we're having a good time. We're talking, and I gotta flip it straight over. I'm like, hey, guys, that's great and all, but what is this doing here? Why do you have this power tool with no guard on it?
Yeah.
Or, like, and it's just, it sucks, and it's just something that they expect, though.
Well, that's cool.
It's the line that we've always kind of, like, towed together, so if I don't do that, if I don't take it there, then that's what they'll start to expect. They'll start to expect to get away with stuff, and then it becomes even harder for you to reel it back.
Right.
So, I mean, you kind of have to, at some point, be able to set that baseline of being like, you know what, every time I find something, I'm going to address it. I'm going to assert myself and say, hey, you know what, this is wrong, and here's how we fix it. And we just move forward and get it taken care of.
We had a safety guy at the ethanol plant that we staffed out there during the construction. And he was out there a couple months, and then they gave me a call and said, hey, Aaron, we need you to send us a new evil safety dude.
A new one?
Yeah.
What was wrong with the old one?
That's what I said. I said, what's wrong with the old one? The old evil safety dude.
That's the question we need to answer.
And they go, well, he's not much of an evil safety dude. We wanted an evil safety dude.
Oh, no.
I go, well, what specifically is the problem? It's like he's so friendly with everybody. He's like installing car stereos in the parking lot for them.
Instead of being at work.
Instead of being out there making sure they're following the safety rules.
Oh, okay. So he had trouble actually being the safety dude. He was just the dude.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, what's up? He was like, hey.
He wasn't an evil safety dude. He was cool, I'll hook you up, dude.
I'll hang out at work and get paid for it, guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
So, yeah, we had to say, all right, man, you're done.
Yeah. You ever had an evil safety dude be too evil working for you before?
Not for me, because I stay away from those guys, but I've experienced one.
Yeah, I've run into him before as well.
One guy, his name was Tim. I won't say his last name. And on his hard hat for a sticker, they had a sticker machine on site, and you put a little label, buddy.
Type stuff.
Yeah, so on his hard hat where his name was supposed to be, because his name was Tim, he put Intimidator.
Oh, my goodness.
And he walked around like that.
Kind of beefing himself up a little bit.
He was like, I am King Kong, rah, like that.
He'll get you.
Yeah.
As the safety guy.
Yeah.
So you
I would never hire that guy.
Like he wouldn't coach. He was just there to yell at people.
He was the intimidator. He was there to intimidate, and he was all enforcement, no coaching. Just wanted to, fuss, and so he could feel cool and tough and strong.
That's terrible. Well, I mean, I guess I just don't agree with that style. Like, I don't think you're going to get very far. I don't think the people are really going to respect you. I feel like
no, because you're not respecting them.
Yeah, it requires a good deal of respect on both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you find something wrong, you go up there, you need to have that backbone to be able to say, hey, you know what? I know you're a professional at welding. I know you're a better welder than I am. I know you know more about welding than I do, but I'm a professional at safety. And this is the right thing to do.
There's two types of bad safety people, characters
there might be more
that have really plagued me.
Okay,
so there's that intimidator style, that safety cop,
just coming
jerk,
right down your throat.
Yeah, because then everyone hates safety after they work with a guy like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It just carries over to the next safety person. I've had to be the safety person after that guy.
Ugh.
And had to bear all the brunt of the hatred that he caused, all the bad culture.
That's what they're used to.
But there's another bad character of safety that has really plagued me. And it has been the hypocrite safety guy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, and I've had to play cleanup for that. So one time had a job doing safety, and the safety guy before me, no joke, this is what they told me. He would go to the job site. This was construction.
Okay.
He'd go to the job site in like flip-flops and shorts and no hard hat,
Oh, my gosh.
no safety glasses, and just walk around and yell at everybody for not wearing their PPE.
Oh, good. Excellent.
And then when they would call him on it, well, I'm the safety guy.
Ugh.
I'm not doing any work.
Wow.
Yeah, so
No,
that's
not
hypocrite.
okay.
That's
Heck yeah.
hypocrite. You know, if it's a site rule, it's a site rule regardless of
Yep.
your role. I mean, they've clean brand new hard hats for all the fancy schmancy people who come on site to tour the site.
Right.
You know, the people in suits and stuff. They
Yep.
make them wear PPE.
Yeah, all day.
Well, of course, the safety guy should wear it. He's, you know,
Lead by
got to be
example, man.
yeah. But you know, so there are safety guys out there like that too. So that's bad. So if you're becoming a safety person, or if you are, don't be the hypocrite safety person, and don't be the safety cop jerk safety
Right.
person.
You can have
You're ruining it for everybody.
you can have a good backbone, and you can have, you know, some safety cojones
Right.
without being an absolute tool.
In supplement to listening to our podcast to helping you become a safety professional, I recommend that you watch The Dog Whisperer.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll just move on.
No, because that dude's a psychologist, man.
Right?
You know, assertive, not aggressive. That's
Yeah.
what he's always telling the pet owners. Assertive, not aggressive.
Right. You should be able to say something with confidence and not be angry
And with
about
some authority.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
without having to put anger in it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah. safety
think-
Gestapo.
I think that really works, though, when we're talking about being assertive and having a good backbone. Also means that you should also be very secure in what you're saying. You should have a lot more confidence and being okay with when you're coming down on people and you're correcting them, that they're not going to like that.
Yeah, you got to be okay with not being liked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
You're going to be telling professionals that they're wrong.
If you're very insecure,
Safety's not great.
yeah, it's probably not the trade for you. Because if you're one of those person that has to be liked by most, you know, because you're never going to be liked by everybody.
No.
But, it, you know, and I think everybody kind of gets that. But if you feel like, I really got to be liked by everybody,
I need it.
you're just not going to be good at safety.
No.
No.
Because you have to tell people that they're wrong. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
And
you
everybody
can't just let
hates
it go.
that.
Everybody hates
Everybody
it.
hate.
Nobody likes hearing it.
Logically, I like to be corrected. You know,
Well, sure.
as a
So,
professional, whatever
learning
I'm doing,
experience.
you know, if you point out like something I taught that wasn't right, okay, cool, man, because I don't want to teach wrong information.
Right.
If another martial artist says, "Hey, you're popping your chin up and you're throwing your jab, Aaron,"
Be like, oh, snap, now I'm exposed.
you know, like I want that. Logically, I want that because I want
Yeah.
to be the best I could be, but it still sucks.
Yeah, in the moment
It's
hearing
still
it,
like,
you're
oh man,
what?
yeah.
And
So-
now that being wrong is now associated with that person that's there, it's very difficult.
Even if you logically understand the benefit of being corrected, it still feels bad to everybody.
Yep. Regardless.
And that's the safety professional's main job.
Yeah. To tell people they're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not going to be happy about that.
So, yeah, you got to be secure. You got to be okay with not being liked.
For sure.
All right. Let's talk about politics.
Oh, yeah. Because right now there's like little political climate. There's, people are barely discussing politics. There's very, very few things happening.
Yeah, well, we're going to
nationally.
stay away from I don't know how to say it nice, so we'll just skip it.
Political
We're talking
climate.
about job site politics. That's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So,
Drama.
so we had a safety dude one time on the site,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a guy. He had an A-frame ladder,
Okay.
and he had it closed and leaning on the wall.
Was he climbing it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's a violation.
Yep.
In addition, he had no safety glasses on, and that was a site requirement.
Okay. So he 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Got him on both.
So the safety guy, he wasn't really political type of guy.
Okay.
He didn't go, "Who is this person?
Mm-hmm.
who, like, what's his role here?
Okay.
Who's he connected to?
Sure.
And he also didn't master that assertive, not aggressive thing. So he's already got two things
So
against
he
him.
knows he's right.
The safety guy knows he's right,
Right.
but he doesn't know who he's about to approach. He
Okay.
doesn't know the politics of the job site.
Sure.
Nor has he mastered being assertive instead of aggressive. So he doesn't know who he's about to talk to, and he comes off very aggressive.
So he's coming in hot.
Yes. What are you doing standing on that ladder like that? Oh, and you have no safety glasses on. Ah. He's right. He's right.
Yeah, he's got him twice.
But he's messing up as a professional. So guess what happens to old Aaron? He gets a bunch more work to do that day because Aaron gets a call. Hey, Aaron, we need you to send us another evil safety dude. And I was like,
What's wrong with the one I said?
what's wrong with the last one?
Yeah, what's wrong
I
with that
sent
guy?
you? And the guy wouldn't tell me. He actually wouldn't tell me. He was
Really?
like, well, it's just not working out.
Okay, which doesn't give you anything to go off of. You're like, all right.
Yeah. So, customer's always right. Whatever. He
Okay.
it's not working out. It's not gelling. So, all right, fine. So, I actually had to go do the job because it was such short notice. It was a weekend. I couldn't find another guy. So, I went and had to work on the site myself, far away,
Oh, jeez.
which is always fun to be on site a little bit. Just not like in an emergency situation
Right.
when you could plan to go out of town.
Yeah. Hooray.
So, I found out because I was on site
Right.
what happened.
You're with everybody.
The guy that he chewed out was the superintendent of the electrician crew, who was best friends with the plant owner.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So the plant was the one who hired us to
Right.
oversee safety. So he chewed out his best friend, basically.
Right.
So
owner's-
the
owner's
electrician
friend, yeah.
superintendent who just gets chewed out, who was wrong,
Right.
but he's a little pride hurt.
For sure.
So
Wants a
he
little
goes, tells
revenge.
buddy, hey, who's this punk out here talking to me like this? Get rid of him. And his buddy said, okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So my safety guy got fired.
Right. And so,
He wasn't wrong.
but there's a way he could have done that job. A
Yes.
little more tactfully.
Yeah. So, tact is something we definitely have to talk about.
Yeah.
And we've
Well,
kind of been
we talked
touching
about
on
it
it.
last week.
But the whole political stuff. Now, please hear me. I'm not saying the powerful people, you look the other way.
No.
No, it's just politics 101. I mean,
Understanding who you're talking
yeah.
to.
And if you were cool about it, maybe politics wouldn't matter as much because you're going to talk to everybody cool.
Well, yeah, and I think that whole, and we've talked about it many times, if you come to everybody corrective, assertive, and coaching, people are going to be a lot more receptive. They're going to hear you versus, you talking at them.
I have had one instant where it went the opposite way and turned out great, though.
All right, you got to explain that one. With
Yeah,
the
so
opposite way.
there's a safety guy. He's on this job as like a plant expansion, it's an existing plant. And there was a guy on the site with no safety glasses.
Okay.
And this safety guy did come at him hard.
All right.
Not like insane.
No, but you need to get your safety glasses on.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. And it turned out to be the owner.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
A super rich, like billionaire guy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And this guy had respect because he's such a rich, well-known guy.
He got yelled at.
He's used to everybody letting him get away with anything.
Right.
Too scared to say anything. Well, this safety guy he wasn't good with politics either, so he had no idea
Right.
who he was talking to. But it was actually the owner was like, "That's what I need. I need somebody to be out here enforcing these rules,
Right.
regardless of who's on site.
some
This
safety
is exactly
cojones."
what I need. I need an evil safety dude." So, in that one instance, it worked out well for him, but in the other instance, it didn't work out well for him.
I would say most of the time it's probably going to come back and bite you in the butt.
Yeah, depending on how crazy you are.
And
But-
there might be some instances, though, where they respect that because a lot of those guys do. That's the type of foreman or superintendent that they've always dealt with is that hardcore, nasty, assertive, you come at me hard, and that's what they respect now.
I got another story for you,
All right.
not knowing politics.
All right.
You know this story.
Oh, no. Is it a story about me?
No, there was a evil safety person,
Okay.
and they're on the job and they're working, and the owner of the company purchased something
Okay.
and didn't run it by the safety person
I know this story.
because they're the owner.
Yeah, I do know this story.
And the new thing they got wasn't as strong as the old thing that they had.
Right. Different ratings.
Yeah. And so the safety person, not understanding the whole political side of stuff,
Right.
just started sending out emails,
Nasty emails.
rebuking emails. I don't know how nasty they were. I didn't read them, but I'm trying to be nice because this person probably listens.
Could listen.
Yeah. So rebuking. I'll just say rebuking emails.
Right.
Who did this? Who did that? You know, you didn't run it by
Big,
me. You know, this one isn't as strong. OSHA this, OSHA that.
Right.
And then didn't realize it was the owner who did it. And the owner's not going to take that from nobody.
No.
So that person got sent packing.
Yeah. That was a rough one.
So bottom line is safety people have to do their job.
Right.
But we got to do it in a way that doesn't get us fired.
Well, I think there are good opportunities in all these examples for that person who is either overreacting or being overly aggressive to still have gotten their job done.
For sure.
Yeah. But not maybe done it that way.
Yeah,
Been a
I
little
mean,
more tactful.
in the last case, you find out, you do some research.
Right.
Who did this?
Right.
It's got to be high up because who could authorize purchases that big?
Right.
So you figure out who it is. That's playing the politics. Oh, that person did it. Okay. Well, I can't say anything, but what I can do is make sure I do a refresher training on everybody on the new things to deal with the decrease in capacity.
Right.
So I could do my job and make sure our company is safe and compliant.
Right.
So I could do my job and not get fired.
Right. And they would have I think it could have just come down to communication instead of so much aggression.
They could have said, hey, super high up person, the highest up in this company, that purchase you made is now going to require me to refresh every single operator. So, let's make sure that's in the budget, because I got to pull everybody off production and do a quick little refresher with them.
Stop before we can use this.
And if you want to push it a little bit, hey, sir, do you think, if it's possible next time you make a purchase like this, I could be involved because I could let you know that these hidden costs that you may be incurring for OSHA compliance.
Right.
You could throw that and show the value of yourself.
Yeah.
Like I could be helpful even in a purchase of a product.
Yep. When it comes down to those things that, are rated or it's equipment, really anything is material handling or PPE, anything like that.
Right.
It's always good as a safety person to be like, hey, you keep me in the loop. I can actually help inform and possibly even save you money down the line.
Yeah.
Or make sure that we avoid an OSHA citation, and then all of a sudden now you're offering services to be helpful instead of coming off going aggressive, going, why would you do this without me?
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, I own the place. I can do whatever I want without you.
Yeah, who are you?
Right, yeah. So when you come off saying,
What's your name again?
Yeah. And if you always have that, I'm here to help, always let me know about these things. I'm there to assist the company. We'll get this handled. And then if something goes wrong, it's really hard for them to turn around and point a finger at you and be like, why weren't you there to help us or do this thing? That's why we hired you. You'd been like, actually, for the last 6 months, I've been saying, let me do this for us.
Definitely. All right, well, let's move out of politics. Let's get into something that I think is of the utmost importance of a good safety person.
All right.
I'll go as far as say this is what makes someone a great safety person.
So this is the difference between good to great.
Creativity.
Okay. Being creative.
Yeah.
So my macrame that I hang up at the office makes me a great safety person.
Not quite.
Oh, darn.
What is that?
I don't even know.
Okay.
I just said
All
it
right.
because it sounds creative. I should have said my miniatures that I paint and bring around. They make me a great
It may
person.
help you, but so OSHA regs, like let's look at confined space regs, for instance. They were written for like chemical vessels and manholes.
Right. Yep.
And then we're training some like residential contractor who's going in like crawl spaces or an HVAC contractor's going in a rooftop unit.
For sure.
And it meets
Still
all the
confined space.
definition, you know, but it's like, really? I need 2 people. I need to test the air.
Right.
I need to have a permit. I need to go in a way that my tenant can do a non-entry. Like, they're like, come on, man, this is crazy. But it wasn't really written with them in mind.
Right.
You know, it was written for like grain bin dudes and stuff like that.
And we're worried about this person dying at any moment.
Yeah. So, OSHA regs sometimes to certain trades could be very hard to actually comply with.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay. So we talked about knowledge and wisdom on part 1 of this.
Yeah.
You know the information.
Yep.
But how do you apply it in real life? So, like,
Man, that's the trick.
That's where creativity comes in. So, do you got any cool creative? Let's just go with maybe fall protection anchors or, any creative.
I got to do one recently where it was just one of those instances where we needed to be creative, and we were So I was working with an HVAC company, and they need to work in this unit that is trapped in a ceiling of a gymnasium.
Okay.
And
what do you mean trapped?
So it was built into it. There's no rooftop access, and the only
Is it
way
in an interstitial or it's just suspended up there?
I guess you'd call it. I guess it's kind of interstitial. It's in between
the ceiling and the
ceiling
roof.
and the roof.
Okay, I got you.
It's like built into there.
I could visualize it now in my mind.
And the only way to access it is through a panel that's 48 feet off the ground.
That's scary. And what is that interstitial roof like? Could they fall through it and die?
I didn't get to go up there, so I don't know how strong it was.
Okay. It wasn't drop ceiling, though.
Wasn't drop ceiling.
Okay.
Wasn't drop ceiling. And it was supposed to be metal grating. So I think when they were up there, they could walk around.
Okay.
But they were still advised not to.
Could they stand up?
Yes. There was enough room, like, kind of in certain areas where they could stand, like, snugged up next to the unit.
Okay.
But the problem was access.
Okay.
And this is where the creativity came in. They contacted me. They're like, AJ, we need an emergency scaffolding erector course. We're going to drag in scaffolding. This is in the middle of a gymnasium, 47 foot up in the air access. We're going to build 9 levels of scaffolding all the way up to it. How do we construct this tower? Get my guys trained up and ready to go.
Wow, that'd have to be a wide tower to not have to secure it into the building.
I'm like looking at this thing. I'm like, okay, we're going to have to build so many levels wide at the base. And then, as we craft it and go up, we can narrow it down to a single tower at a certain height. And then we'll get that tower up to 45 foot. And then they'll be able to take the 3-foot access up into the 47, 48-foot access hatch. And then we got to make sure that we got it like lined up because there's no moving that tower once it's built. And then we start like looking at the plans, and I'm just doing some quick math by myself. I'm like, guys, this is overweight because it's on a basketball floor, and they said that there was a weight limit.
You're
can't go
gonna
over
damage
this weight.
the floor.
And I'm like, oh, guys, we can't even do this. And they're like, oh, we got to do this. And then pretty soon the gym staffs get involved. They're like, we'll lay down this and we'll do that. And pretty soon I'm like, why aren't we just doing this with a big lift? Like, why can't we just do that? And they're like, there's no way to get a lift down here. Well, as it turned out, there was actually a way to lower one-man lifts down. They had this I-beam that stuck out that was rated that they could actually attach a lift to, drive right over and lower it right down onto the floor, and the lift was under the weight limit.
Cool.
And that's what they ended up doing. And everybody was just like, wow, this is so much easier.
Nice.
All we had to do was drive this lift out. I was like, yep. And then they just put pads underneath. It had these nice little outriggers.
Okay.
So they padded the
It was
outriggers.
a spider lift?
Yep.
Cool.
And just shot the guy right up into the ceiling. He went straight up to the hatch. There was an anchor point perfect right in there. So, boom, he could exit the lift. He was working on his unit that he needed to do, right back into the lift and out. It was super easy.
Have you seen those new track?
Giant scaffold build. It's awesome.
They got one out at the plant in North Sioux. It's a boom lift on tracks that's narrow enough to drive through a door. That thing's pretty awesome.
It's on tracks?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like tank treads, like tracks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my brain, I'm sitting here thinking like train tracks.
It's on a railroad.
Yeah,
tracks.
I'm like,
yeah,
what?
It's a
but okay, I get
railroad
you.
mounted boom lift.
No, I haven't. It's a boom on tracks, huh?
Yeah.
What?
They got it out at the North Sioux plant.
I'll have to check it out next
I
time.
took a
I'm out
picture
there.
of it because it's pretty cool.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and you
I mean,
could
that
drive
was
it through a door. I don't know how high it goes. May not have gone up 40, whatever feet.
But yeah, I had to be creative. They had this question.
You got to be creative.
They threw it at me. They thought they'd solve the problem. They're like, we're building this massive tower. And I'm like, couldn't we just do it the easier way? And they were like, oh, why didn't we think of this? But it's
that's essential.
Yeah. How about you? Do you have any good creative
Well,
stories?
I told the one where I had to make the horizontal lifeline.
Yeah, that was a good creative story, though.
And it happened again not with me like chewing people out, but I learned my lesson from that one. But where I got guys on a plant roof.
Okay.
And you've been on plant roofs.
Yeah.
Sometimes they got an actual parapet wall that's
Right.
high enough to count as fall
Counts as
protection.
your fall protection.
Guardrail, mid-row toe board. But a lot of times, like in certain areas of the plants or, certain walls, like the east wall, it's like 18 inches or something.
Right.
I just don't get it.
It's
Why don't
like
the
a rain
guardrail
catch.
all
Yeah,
roofs to
it's-
all plants?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
They should.
But anyway, so, yeah, I'm looking up at these guys, and they're leaning right over this huge plant roof. No fall protection, no tie
of
off,
course not.
no guardrails.
They're looking all the way
They're
down.
pulling ropes up with material, And so I go up there. I'm like, hey, you got to tie off. You're like 30 feet in the air, man.
Jeez.
You're like leaning over the edge. Like, you're going to die.
Yeah.
The
The stiff breeze will end you
And,
right now.
so then, fair enough. They're like, all right,
What do we
evil
do?
safety guy, solve our problem for us.
Right.
And, the first time on a plant room, I was like, well, you guys are screwed, man.
Yeah. What the heck can I use up
I mean,
here?
they got these pipe racks on these stands, on these rubber pads that are not even secured in.
Nope.
So you might think, oh, that big pipe,
Not
that
a
big
great idea.
stand, it's huge, strong pipe. But if you tied off to that, you would just pull it out like
Yeah.
that magic trick where you take the tablecloth out of the, off the,
And
yeah.
it would just go.
Yeah, you would just pull the stand. It's
Yeah.
literally not hooked
It's
to
just
anything.
set there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Did you find something?
I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. Well, yeah, so I've learned a couple tricks. One, the newest tech would be those roof carts.
Oh, those rooftop carts are awesome.
Yeah, crane up a roof cart.
Yep.
Make sure you're in the right angles. Roof safe tires. Got a built-in job box.
Yeah, they're
Some of them
great.
could tie off 3 people.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, done. And I've used them since. But before those were invented or I found out about them. So I'm looking at these huge HVAC units up there.
Right.
And they're sitting on curbs, and they got lifting eyes and lifting ears on them. Or
Yep.
the new ones, the frames around the bottom that they rig to
Yep.
fly them, clipping on, making vertical lifelines, horizontal lifelines that go from them to the edge.
Yep.
So again, back to lifelines, but finding someplace far away that was strong enough as an
Right.
anchor, and then with wire rope and wire rope clips and making it right to the right strengths, bringing it all the way to where they were.
Yeah.
And I've had to do that several times.
Nice. But yeah, it's sometimes safety is not about who can figure out how to do this complicated thing. It's who can be more creative.
Yeah, you got to be
Solve
creative
that
because
problem.
the rules are the rules, and OSHA doesn't care
Yeah.
who they wrote the rule for.
Right.
When they're on site and you're not following it, you're just not following it, and you're busted.
I had guys hanging over the side of a boom lift because they needed to move material from ground level up to this rooftop, and this material was too big. It couldn't actually go in the boom lift basket. But they were smart enough. They'd actually done the math. It wasn't heavy. It was just awkward. Wasn't overloading the boom. So they just kept hanging over the side, holding the stuff, and then flying up to the roof and putting it down.
Okay.
And I watch them do this. I'm like, guys, there's got to be a better way. I don't see you technically breaking a rule. You're not hanging over, but you're holding on to this. Is there any attachment points on this thing? Can we tie the stuff off to it? No, there's none of that stuff. Until we kind of realized that the place where you could clip off to is rated, is strong enough. It actually has a rating in its in the owner's manual.
Okay.
They were just finally. I was like, I got them to, and it took me a minute, but they just started using vice grips. They were
Okay.
vice gripping their material to the tie off points, and then flying it to the roof instead of hanging on to it, dangling over the side of the lift.
Okay.
And they were like, "This is so much easier." I'm like,
So you're not breaking the manufacturer rules.
"Yeah." I
you
was
know?
like, "Well, why? Just be a little bit more creative. Think
Yeah.
about your problem. Try to solve it instead of just going, I'm tough. I'm gonna figure it out right now."
All right, so let's talk about the hats. In safety, we wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, hard hats. I wear visors. Sometimes I will wear a short-billed hat. Doesn't block the sun as well, but it looks kind of.
I have been thinking we should go get those dorky chartreuse safety hard hats.
I don't think they're dorky. I think they're kind of cool. Man. Some of my guys have those bright orange ones that go all the way around.
Yeah,
those look cool,
yeah.
man. I like them. They're like orange and black.
But no, hats like, for instance, okay, so I remember being a safety person for a company.
Okay.
So I go on site, I catch a guy 20 feet up in the air, on a boom lift.
Sure.
He's not tied off. In the boom lift, 20 feet up, and he's not even in the basket.
Oh, so
well,
he's
he's half
monkeying
in.
about.
He actually has 1 foot in. He's straddling the rails.
So he's breaking boom lift rules left and right.
Yeah, and
willy-nilly.
And it's like in that company, it was a 1 strike you're out deal. That type of fall protection violation.
Oh,
He's
fired right now.
A lot of companies are like that.
Yeah.
So I roll up on site and I see this and I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Yep.
I mean, like
I don't want to fire somebody today, but
so I snap a pick.
Yep.
I don't want to spook him, so he falls out and dies. Because I've learned that when they see the safety guy in a surprise fashion, they could
sometimes
get
they
spooked
panic
and actually fall and die.
That's not cool.
So I made sure very gently he was aware of my presence so he didn't fall out and die. Then, of course, he sees me and he gets back in. I tell him to come down. I said, well, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You're not tied off and you're straddling. You're not even in the basket.
Right.
The guardrails aren't even helping you.
Oh, boy.
And so I'm kind of chickening out. I don't want to fire this guy. At that point, I never fired anybody.
Right.
So I called the owner. I said, hey, boss man, here's the situation. And this guy was a foreman too. So I'm expecting the boss man, he doesn't want to give up on a trained foreman.
Right.
So I'm expecting him just to be like, oh, just retrain him, write him up again or something. I'm
right.
expecting him to
kind of get a pass.
Yeah, give him a pass. But he goes, nope, handle it, fire him. And I go, like fire, yeah. And I said, I'm a safety guy and,
right.
and barely that at this point.
Right.
I have no human resources. I have no HR training in firing people. Like, I'm going to fire him wrong and get sued or something. Like, I was scared.
Yeah, man.
I was like,
all sorts of stuff you're like going through your head.
And I was like, shouldn't HR do that? He's like, you're the safety guy. He broke the safety rule. Fire him. Or no. Let me get the story right. He goes, well, let's see if HR will do it.
Okay.
So I call HR, and that's what HR says. You're the safety guy. He broke a safety rule. You fire him.
Oh, jeez.
The HR guy would not back me up.
On your shoulders now.
So I said, so this is all on phone conversation. I'm still on site. So I go to the guy, said, all right, well, pack up. You're done, man. You're fired.
Oh.
But point being, the hat's like, here I am, a safety guy, and I got to fire people.
Yeah. So you're kind of an HR guy.
So, I realized, I don't have the skills to do this. I need some training on that.
Right.
If they're actually going to have me do it, I need some training on this. I need to know the laws and the rules.
Yeah.
And then, there's so many hats safety people wear. Case manager.
Yep.
You wear that hat a lot?
All the time. Unfortunately, I wish I didn't hardly have to wear that hat. That's one of my least favorite hats.
But it's an important hat.
It's extremely important.
If you want to reduce EMR rates and OSHA recordables,
yeah.
you got to manage your cases. We've done a whole podcast on this.
You do. But you got to be on them. You got to, and then
But a safety person is a case manager for an injury?
Heck yeah.
Who else is going to do it in the company?
Nobody. Really, everybody else is too busy. You're the person who's supposed
even if
to
they
manage,
weren't, they're not going to do
safety.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Risk manager, just like
identifying problems.
That's our technical titles.
Yeah.
We are evil safety dudes.
Yep.
But on our business card, it says risk manager. So it's not always about OSHA regs.
Right.
It's about risk.
Any risk.
Even if it's not an OSHA violation.
I like your soda pop one. That story you tell about that.
I don't remember a soda pop story.
It's just it's just managing risk. This one time we were doing an inspection in a place we were inspecting. They had a soda machine.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
And it's not an OSHA reg to put down like a floor mat or a rubber mat or anything there, but it's like looking at this place where there could very obviously be a slip, trip, and fall
There's
hazard.
always kids getting drinks and spilling everywhere.
And so you're just going, hey, here's a risk. It might not be an OSHA reg.
Yeah, it's not a violation.
This is technically something that we could fix.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things you got to be able to do.
Yeah, risk manager.
Yeah.
We talk about human resources, compliance officer, coach.
Oh, yeah. That's probably one of my favorite hats.
Yeah, you got to. I always think of a football coach. If his running back drops the ball,
right,
he doesn't fire him.
No.
Not the first time. Probably not even the 10th time.
Depends on the game, I suppose.
Yeah, but they work with them.
Right.
Hey, this is what you did wrong. You held the ball this way instead of this way.
Right.
You need to hold the ball this way.
And it really comes down to being good at safety is going whether or not this person knows better? Do I need to train them?
Right.
Or is this the 10th time I've told them they got to put the guard on this thing, and now that it's
Right.
exploded and shot into their arm, do we keep you around?
Yeah. Consultant.
Yeah.
That's a hat that safety professionals have to wear.
That creativity comes a long way.
And just like, hey, tell us everything we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
We want to pay you to tell us what OSHA non-compliance issues we have.
Yep.
Psychologist is kind of what you were alluding to.
It gets there a lot.
Is this person behaviorally choosing, consciously choosing to break this rule because they know the rule and they're making up in the mind, I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it. I don't
Or
have time, or I
is
don't
it an
care.
ignorance issue where I just
Right.
don't know the rule, I didn't understand the rule?
You have the opportunity to coach
And that's like something the safety professional has to figure out.
right there. Yep. It's tough.
Because there's two different methods of handling the situation.
Right.
If they just didn't know or didn't understand, the coach comes in.
That's when you're
All
done,
right,
yeah.
player, this is what you do. We're going to get this right. Don't worry about it. But if it's a behavioral issue, now we got problems.
Right.
Now we're talking about safety disciplinary action, write-ups,
Yep. Meetings with their boss.
retrainings,
All sorts
whatever.
of not fun conversations.
Yeah, so being a psychologist, who knew?
Yeah.
You got to be a psychologist when you're a safety professional. Trainer.
Oh, yeah. Trainer every day. I was training this morning.
I always think it's weird when a safety person gets mad that they have to train.
Shouldn't that be an expected part of the job?
I guess, but I guess people don't always see that going in. Sometimes when you read that job description, like when a company's hiring a safety person
Yeah.
and it's out there wherever they're posting it, it doesn't always say like you're going to train people all the time. It's like must
Well,
have
they
this
might
much
not even know
experience,
that.
must have knowledge in this.
Right.
Da, da, da. But if you've been a safety professional, you know how much. I mean, new hire
Yeah.
orientation, OSHA annual, all the retraining, all the injury,
Every single thing they do
lessons
requires
learned,
training. on it.
operator certifications, and even if you're hiring out a lot of that, you're still doing a lot of
Oh,
it. You just got to be a trainer and teacher. Investigator.
Oh, yeah. We were already talking about that with injury case management. But, I mean, that even just goes into near hit, near miss.
Yeah.
What happened? Why did it happen? How can we prevent it ever happening again?
If I said, if someone's like, Aaron, what do you do for a living? I do investigations.
Investigations.
They'd be like, oh, so you're like a cop, like a detective,
Safety cop.
like a PI? No, I'm a evil safety dude.
That's right.
What do you mean? Your safety guys do investigations all the
Yeah.
time, and it's just as hard as a criminal investigation. Well, I won't say that,
I don't know about just as
but
hard,
but there's a lot of commonalities to where people don't want to talk
true.
because snitches get stitches.
Well, that.
Well,
or-
the injured person got stitches, and all of his buddies who witnessed it that knew he was doing it wrong and didn't say anything now want to clam up on us and not tell us the truth because they don't want to get in trouble. So everybody's all defensive.
Yep.
And you're just trying to get to the bottom of it, not to punish anybody, but you got to make sure this never happens again to anybody else. So you got to
Exactly.
find what we call the root cause analysis.
Yep.
We got to find out the root cause. And everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know. I just heard screaming."
Yeah.
It's like, weren't you holding the pipe when it happened?
And then his arm was
I
off.
looked away
I
at that
sneezed.
exact. Yeah. And it's like, come on. But yeah, you got to be an investigator,
Yep.
and we should do a whole podcast on injury investigations.
Heck yeah. Surprised we have.
I think it's on our list. A negotiator. Now, you've had some pretty good claims to fame at this.
There's been a couple times I've been a champ at negotiating.
And, what does a safety guy negotiate? Well, for example, just PPE prices.
PP prices are.
It's your
my
job
gosh.
to find out what PPE your company needs and to purchase it.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not, make it yours. You do not want the regular purchaser buying your fall protection equipment
Right.
and your cut-resistant gloves because they will get the cheapest, suckiest things that they can get.
At the highest price. Like, you don't realize. Oh, this was one that, like, just going into, and I'm sorry, guys, to derail everything, but just being that person, I was just trying to find better gloves. Everybody was upset about these gloves that they had. They were these Kevlar gloves. They were cut resistant, and everybody complained about them. They were too slippery. You couldn't do tactile work. Made your hands sweat. Everything. Well, I was like, all right, let's find something that's a good medium, good in between. But nobody had taken a look at the price of what they were spending on these gloves. These were just the gloves they'd always bought. And we found these really nice ones, name brand, really, really good. And they were like, oh, we're never going to be able to afford these. As it turned out, these were half the price
Nice.
of the pair of what they thought were the cheap, terrible gloves they were using.
So you got a better quality at a lower price.
Yep.
You
because
were
nobody had looked at it.
a negotiator because you cared enough.
I did. I wanted to find him something good. So I was like, all right, I'll find us a good deal. And, yeah, nobody stopped to take a look at it until the safety guy cared.
Another hat that safety guys have to wear is the cleaner.
The cleaner.
What does that mean?
Like the cooler?
No, like Harvey Keitel in Pulp Fiction.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see. I got you.
Like the fixer.
Yeah. You just got to come in and solve the problem. Kind of like we were talking about earlier.
Like boss walks into my office. Aaron, we just got a whole crew kicked off the job site.
Right.
We
Fix it.
do not have another crew to replace them. Fix it.
Yep.
All right, so call the foreman. What happened? Well, we weren't tied off in our system if we got kicked out. Yeah. Call the safety guy, get his side, and then start negotiating. All right, I know it's your policy. Break fall protection violation.
Right.
Throw the whole crew off. But listen, what if I come on site, put them through a brand new operator certification course? I start working.
Right.
Well, it's not my job, but
gotta get them back.
But they put those kind of weird things on you.
Well, because they heard the word safety.
It was a safety issue.
Yep.
So, fix it, Aaron. And
Yep.
I've had to do that, And then you get thrown jobs at you that just have nothing to do with safety, but nobody else wants to touch.
Right.
One time, foreman or boss comes in the office. Hey, Aaron, guys were pulled over in the work truck, and the cops found paraphernalia and some intoxicated people and took them all to jail. And our company vehicle's impounded. Fix it.
Thanks,
How's this safety? How's it not safety?
Right.
Drunk driving and doing drugs, that's totally safety.
Right. That's so unsafe.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
so call the police.
I had one time I got a call from Big Boss, and he said, hey, AJ, like almost the entire company's licenses to operate and do what we do for a living expire here in a month.
Nice.
Fix it.
At least you got a month notice.
Yeah. I was like, they were like, yep, everybody, fix it. I was like, okay, this isn't safety related.
Yep. And
we got it done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bid assistance, we talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember telling the folks that when they were having these big meetings, all the big people in the company, about these jobs to go after, wasn't including safety. And I was like, I should be there.
Yeah.
And they were just like, what? No, this is business. You're just an evil safety dude, And I was like, all right, whatever. I was like, I could help. They're like, we don't want your help. I was like, all right, whatever. So they did land the biggest job in the company history.
Boom.
2-year project, which was big for this company.
Huge.
Big. Way bigger than what they normally do.
Right. Okay.
Start to finish, job. From breaking ground to turning on the plant. Like, it's a big job.
Okay.
Huge. Like, biggest job they ever had.
Got it.
Well, they're working for a very strict general contractor, and just one simple thing, they had a glove policy, which required gloves to be on at all times, unless they're in the break room or bathroom.
Okay.
So that means in his PPE,
yep,
these guys worked with sheet metal.
Oh, good.
So we had
going through gloves,
cut-resistant gloves, and so we had to provide the gloves, and we had to make sure they always had a pair of gloves. Because literally, if they were caught on site not wearing gloves, they were in trouble.
Yep.
So it's not like something you could just not do.
Right.
Just skip over the rule. Oh, we're not going to follow that. No, they had to do it, else they wouldn't work. So 2 years, project's over with. I get the project manager yelling at me because they didn't profit as much as they thought. One of the issues was $8,000 in gloves.
Oh, my. Well, that's
2 years
worth of gloves.
There was like 30 guys on that site.
Oh, my gosh.
And a guy would go through a cut-resistant pair of gloves in 1 month when he's working 60 hours a week doing hard manual labor.
I'm surprised it lasted a month.
Yeah. Well, within a couple weeks, the whole non-slip finish came off.
Gone.
But the whole cut-resistant glove was still good. So we worked them for a month until there was like holes in them and stuff. So it's not, and I even had a tracking because I wasn't frivolous.
Right.
So if a guy's like, if I tracked when I gave him gloves. So if he came in the next day, I'm like, that's coming out your check, bud, because I gave you a pair yesterday.
Yep.
You can't just be losing your gloves and coming and getting a new pair every day.
Right.
I expect you to wear these for 1 month.
Right. We bought you gloves.
So I wasn't frivolous. I had a tracking form and everything.
Right.
But even monitoring it and running a good PPE tracking program is still $8,000.
Well, yeah, 30 pairs of gloves.
And
every
I said,
month.
remember how I told you I wanted to be in those meetings? That's what I want to read in those bid packages is the safety rules because they come in there.
Yeah.
And I could point those out and tell you what you need to increase I could do some quick math, tell
Right.
you what you need to add in your bid, and you could come out better.
Yep.
So after that, I got in all those meetings
There you go.
because they saw the value of safety. They didn't understand the value of safety in the bid process.
Right.
And that's one of 100 examples.
There's a couple I got to do recently. One was easy one. In order to work at this job site, they had to get signed up on a new website called Veriforce.
Okay.
I was like, hey, this is the only contractor you need it for. I would include that cost in your bid. And they were like, well, it can't be that much. I was like, guys, in order for you to use Veriforce, it's $3,700
a year.
a year. They were
Right.
like, what? I was like, so if that's the only reason we need it, let's
Right.
put it in our bid. And they did. And guess what? It got accepted.
Cool.
I had another really neat one where we got to use the bid to buy safety equipment.
Yeah.
They needed a special spreader bar lifting attachment for a forklift they didn't have.
Okay.
They only needed it for this job. Company doesn't need this thing.
Right.
I was like, guys, this thing's like, a few $1,000s. And they were like, all right. I was like, but let's put it in the bid because we need it for the job. Otherwise, if we don't get this job, let's not buy the stupid thing.
Right.
They did. They got it. And the guys were super happy. They were like, yay, now we don't have to rig illegally. Like, thanks, AJ, for this awesome piece of equipment. I was like, well, you're welcome. But also at the same time, they paid for it. So, like, there you go.
Yeah, I did one like that with fall protection gear. It was back in the day when 4-foot fall protection was rare.
Okay.
And it was in a plant where there was low tie-off points.
Oh,
And-
nice.
And it was going to be very strict with fall protection. The only way we were going to be able to do this job legally was with self-retracting lanyards.
Okay.
And this was
They get
before.
expensive.
And this was before those were common.
Yeah. Also,
So-
even more expensive.
So I was like, hey, we're going to need, how many guys you got? 7? Each one's going to need a self-retracting lifeline to do this job. $150, $200 a pop.
Yeah.
So, but we were able to put that in the bid.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get it covered.
So, again, when you look at the safety side of the job and you see what gear it is going to take or training, you could put that into the bid. So bid assistance is something if the owner of the company is up on safety,
If they're,
they'll use their safety people to help with bid. And, they'd be dumb not to because they're going to lose money.
right. As a safety person, remember, use your tact. Don't come in being Mr. Know-it-all, but be like, hey, if you let me in on these meetings, I could find a way to get these things that we need included in the bid. Be smart. Don't just be like, well, I wish you would have let me in the meeting because then we could have bought what we needed, but you didn't because you're dumb, so bleh.
That's how I did it.
Oh, good.
No,
How
I'm
did-
just kidding.
Did it turn out?
No,
great?
and when I was in the meetings, I just shut up,
Oh, yeah.
sat back, ate cookies, listened to coffee until they gave me the floor.
Right.
I wasn't even trying to insert myself. I just waited till your turn to talk, and then I just had my stuff ready and just
Right.
boom, blow them away with stuff they didn't think about.
Well, yeah. It's,
All right, so what other hats? Industrial hygienist.
yeah, of course, being somebody who can look at all those little things people might get exposed to. Your
Sa-
regular
safe-
workers aren't going to do that.
Safety people need to understand light monitoring, sound monitoring,
Yeah.
air monitoring. It's
Even
just
things
stuff
like-
safety professionals do,
When we went through that industrial hygienist class, dust exposure,
right?
just dust.
Nuisance dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's a
There's
crazy
a Pell
amount.
on nuisance dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a crazy amount of stuff you need
Non-hazardous
to be up
dust.
on.
Yeah. So, but if you're not up on it, that's not going to be good. But at the same time, just as a hat a safety person wears, if you think,
Yep.
a safety person, I got to know about air monitoring. Well, yeah,
You have
it's
so many
employee
hats.
safety. And then group leader,
Yeah.
that's always a fun one. Just leading a group. If it's
It's tricky.
not necessarily a training, but like running a job site meeting, running a pre-lift meeting, a critical lift.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of running groups, and
Yeah.
there's fancy, smart people in there, but you're kind of running the show there. All right, guys, we got to have this critical lift pre-meeting. It's an OSHA reg.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. Is a crane operator certified? Have we done our test lift? Have we have our cranes?
Right.
You're just kind of running the show, man.
Same thing. Yeah. Tie-off
Yeah.
points. You're doing fall protection. You get your site-specific meeting.
All right,
of those.
Mr. AJ. Well, you know what? We did not get through all of our material.
Nope.
And it's been an hour, so we should pull the plug on this one and do. Do you have a part try?
Part try.
It's part.
Do
It's
try.
part tertiary,
Tertiary.
sir.
Tertiary.
We have to have a tertiary episode. And by the way, that'll be episode 35.
Ooh,
Awesome.
coming up.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, for AJ Hanscom and Aaron Icino, the Evil Safety Dudes, we are signing off for this Becoming a Safety Professional podcast episode number 2. And until next time, everybody, stay safe.